Hello and welcome to Carla Knits. This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, and all of the yarny goodness that I love. Today is Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. So hello and welcome to all new and returning viewers. A very happy new year to you. It's an exciting time as we look ahead towards 2026. I thought I would get on and record a podcast today. I know there are some new faces here since I did my 12 cast-ons of Christmas this month, which was a whole lot of fun. So I'll be sharing some progress on some of those things today. Places you can find me are linked in the show notes down below. We do have a Ravelry group for Carla Knits, and I will be sharing about a new make-along, which will be starting tomorrow, or probably today as you are watching this. So we will go ahead and get started. Very excited to be wearing this. Finally, a very fully finished object. This is the Wioletta cardigan by Vert and Rose. Wioletta stands for Little Violet. I started this in June and finished it this month, so it was on the needles way too long. It was not without its challenges. Just a different construction for me. Some things had to be ripped back and redone. The sleeves, when I made them too long the first time, so I tinked back and then reknit the cuff. There we go, there's the word. And the cuff has kind of a smocking detail to it. So that took some extra time, and that same smocking detail is on the hem of the sweater too. I really love the curly, I don't know if you call it curly, scalloped button band. That was really fun to make. Let's see, it's knit in Drops Flora, which is a fingering weight yarn, and you hold it double to achieve a DK weight gauge. Drops Flora is 65% wool, 35% alpaca. This is in the color Lemonade. This is the exact yarn that the pattern designer used. When I saw that pattern, I just fell in love with it. I'm not a big yellow person, but I really do like this. And I remember as a child having a yellow blanket, and it was such a comfort. And then there was there was a knitting fiction book that I read, and I'm drawing a blank on it, but the main character, it had to do with knitting, and the main character had a cozy, comfy yellow sweater. So I was kind of thinking about that when I chose to make this too. So I'm very, very happy with the end result. Could not be happier. But this is the reason why I did not cast a sweater or a garment on in my 12 cast-ons of Christmas, because this had just finished up and I just needed a break from sweater knitting. So not to say that sweaters aren't in my future this year, but for right now, just taking a little break. All right, I do have some finished objects, and they are from my 12 cast-ons of Christmas. So the first was from day one. This is the Perfect Gift Cowl. The pattern is by my yarn store, Knit Paper Scissors in Lincoln, Nebraska. So just an in-store pattern. This uses the yarn Furreal. It is so nice and soft. Oh my goodness. And it was very nice to work with. It was knit on a US 13, which is definitely a large needle, but it knit up very quickly. The colorway is Arctic Fox. So it's a pretty white colorway. And I haven't decided if I will keep this or if I will gift it. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's so nice. So that was from the first day, I think I said, yes. But I still have another skein of this Furreal yarn. This is in the Moluccan Cockatoo colorway. And so I want to, when I kitted the two yarns up, I fully intended that I would knit another one. So while this is a finished object, I'm not quite done with that day one, because I am going to knit another one, which you can see I have not started yet. But it went really quickly, would make a really nice gift for, yeah, a really nice gift for someone or just a fun accessory for yourself. The other finished object, I'm trying to see, this was actually from day 9. The pattern is called Hat for the Homeless. This is by a Ravelry user, Kentucky Knitter, and she used, let's look here, Caron Colorama phasing. Here's what it looks like in the cake, in the Arctic Frost colorway. And here is the final hat. So it started out very pale, and I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but it is transitioning into a little bit darker, slightly darker pink up top. So this is a finished hat. This was knit on, I think, a size 9, and you knit the ribbing for 5 inches and you knit the hat to 11 inches, and it's a simple couple round of decreases and knitting. So a very long hat, but it works for the brim, to fold the brim doubled. So this is finished, but when I picked this yarn out, Kentucky Knitter got 4 hats from this full skein of yarn, and so that's what I am intending to do. So I will have a variation of pink hats with that color variation to it. What else did I want to say? Oh, I did measure this, or I weighed this morning. I think this was 23 grams. Is that right? No, that's not right. 53, not 23. 53 grams. 53 grams, and in one of these, I believe it's 227. So I definitely have enough to make 4 hats from this. So that is it for finished objects. Quickly, I just want to share my granny squares. So if you saw the last regular podcast episode in December, I was working on my Scrappy Granny squares using the pattern Scrappy Granny by Natty. We had a mini skein swap in the Carla Knits group, which we've done for several years. I think that was this was the 5th year, and I am crocheting up granny squares, and I don't know which ones I have shown you, but I will just go ahead and go through these quickly. So you can see I need to weave in ends still, and I actually need to weave in ends on my previous couple of years. So I just need to have a weaving in ends afternoon to do that. And I don't think it'll take too long, but it probably would be a good idea to do that sooner rather than later. So the idea was to exchange 12 mini skeins, 10-gram mini skeins with someone, and then you can use the mini skeins for whatever you liked. But I had decided I love that one, would do these squares, and I'm gonna see how many squares I have. I should do that again at some point sooner rather than later, but I think I've got enough other whips right now that I'm going to concentrate on, but I would like to weave in the ends. So hopefully I'm giving you just a good quick peek at all of the pretty colors. The bright yellow. This one was really fun. Another bright yellow. And this one, that was called, I think, Beach Ball. Isn't that really fun? Those bright oranges. So my swap partners were Cheryl and Stephanie. So if you're watching, thank you so much, ladies, for swapping minis with me. This was a whole lot of fun. So that was kind of my yarn advent calendar in the month of December. I'm going to set these aside. We will go ahead and go into works in progress. You know, I had 12 cast-ons this month, and I'm not going to show you all of them. If you'd like to see what I cast on, you can go back to the video, and I do have it on a playlist for this channel. But I'm going to show you my most active whips. And 2 of these whips were before I did the 12 cast-ons of Christmas. So these were outstanding whips. The first is the Sugarplum blanket by Premier Yarns. Oops. And where that marker is where I was last time. And you can see I have knit quite a bit. I've joined in the second skein and I have about this much. This is definitely a tiny blanket. This would be good for like a car seat blanket or maybe a stroller blanket. I guess it could also be a pet blanket, just with the size that it's going to end up. But I had 2 skeins of this yarn, which is Premier Yarns Sweet Roll. This is the honey lavender color. And I had 2 skeins, which I originally intended to use for a crochet cowl, but since changed my mind and am using it for this blanket instead. This is a knit blanket, a free pattern, uses a US size 9. So I feel like the US size 9 needle has been the one that I've probably used the most this month. I've had several projects with US 9, but really enjoying this. I'm looking forward to getting this done. I think a couple evenings worth of work on this and this project will be finished. This is Living in a Bag by Susan of Delightful Works, a beautiful Christmas project bag. All right, and then the other whip prior to the 12 cast-ons of Christmas. Just reaching over here, I got a lot of project bags on my table. Let me just make sure. Yep. So Living in This Bag by Party of 5 Crafts on Etsy. I don't think they don't sell anymore. But this is my Christmas sock, Freckled Whimsy, the first installment of the Christmas Sock Club. And here is where I am at. I don't exactly remember where I was last time, but I have the leg done, I have the heel, and yep, I am through the decreases. So now just knitting down the foot of the sock. This colorway is, I think it's Happy Little Christmas, and it is just so pretty. I absolutely love those colors. If you can, I think you can see that I am doing a cable pattern on the sock. This is a free pattern. It's called the Entwine Socks by Eric Lutz. So just a fun little thing to do with the self-striping yarn. I had knit a Halloween pair of socks with Freckled Whimsy, just doing the striping sequence, and I thought, well, I'm going to try something a little different. So that little cable just gives it a nice little touch, a nice little extra something. So socks are definitely one of my very favorite things to knit. I have a couple pair on the go right now, but yeah, obviously it did not get done for Christmas this year. I don't want to let this linger all the way till next year, so I would like to finish it. I would like to finish it in January. We will see. We will see how that goes. All right, so now this brings us into some of the projects from the 12 cast-ons of Christmas. So if you haven't been here before, the 12 cast-ons of Christmas is a pretty popular thing for knitters and crocheters. It was started by Angela of Yarn and Yarns 6-7 years ago. And I first heard about her on the Stash Down Diaries with Jen, and they both do this 12 cast-ons of Christmas. And I think the idea was you could start around Christmas time and you could take until the end of January to do it. I started mine early. Excuse me. I started mine on December 14th and went through the 25th, Christmas Day, just because I wasn't sure if we were going to be traveling after Christmas. So I just wanted to make sure that I had those 12 days at home that I could be working on the projects, casting these projects on. So how I determined my projects, I have been going through my yarn this fall of 2025, and I kitted up a bunch of projects that I've always been saying, I'm going to make this someday. I really want to make this. I'll make it someday. Well, that turned into pages and pages of different projects, but I narrowed it down to 19 projects, 19, that I thought, yes, I would enjoy casting this on in the month of December. And so every day with my first day of Christmas cast on, I would pick a slip of paper and see which project I was going to cast on. So no, I did not cast on all of the projects that I'd like to make, but I have a really nice start. And the idea is that I am making these projects using stash. So no yarn was purchased to make these projects, just from stash. You can purchase yarn if you want to do the 12 Skeins of Christmas. You can make it your own. I mean, I think there are so many variations. It is really fun to see how everybody does their 12 cast-ons of Christmas. And I may do things differently for Christmas of 2026. I'm not sure yet, but I had fun casting on, and we're going to get into some projects now. So I think this was an early day. Yeah, this was day 2. And I picked the project, the Rose City Rollers, which is a free pattern by Mara Catherine Bryner. And I am making these for my sister, Laura. I gifted a pair to her last year for her birthday. She absolutely loved them. And so I thought I'm going to knit 2 pair this year. So here is one done. So I used, the yarn is Bella Fio yarn. This colorway is Down by the Sea. So pretty, and blues and bluish greens are my sister Laura's favorite colors. And then for the contrast, I used this beautiful vibrant blue. Oh, I love that bluish tealish blue. I don't know, it's just so pretty. And that's Moana. So I used that for the contrast for the toe, just a little fun something. So I finished this. I went to cast on right away. I want to make sure I cast on that second sock. I went to cast this on yesterday, late afternoon, and I got my stitches cast on, and I started doing ribbing. And I'm like, something is not right here. This just is not looking like this cuff. And then I realized, okay, there's no ribbing for this cuff. You just simply knit it, and then that rolls naturally. So I had done knit 2, purl 2 for about 3 rounds. So had to take it out and start over again. But now I'm on track, and it's rolling as it should. So I will be working on sock 2. When that is complete, I will do a second pair using this for the body of the sock and then this for the toe. So I just really love these colors. Laura's birthday is in May, so I do have some time to be working on these. But this sock and my Christmas sock, those are the only socks that I have going. I would like to cast on more, of course, but I got to get that Christmas sock done. I want to get the Christmas socks done, and that's only the first one of the Christmas socks. So I got to get that done. But really happy I have one sock done of those Rose City Rollers. Okay, the next project is probably, this may be my favorite cast on, but I have some issues with it, not gonna lie. This is the Starfall, it's a cowl by Michele Bernstein. Let's see, I'm not in a real good place. So it's gonna be here, and then it has a lace edging which resembles the old shale pattern. This is an assigned pooling pattern using assigned pooling yarn. So you can see the main color is that lighter blue, and then when you get to the colored portion, which is about maybe 8 to 9 inches long, then you do a special stitch called a wrapped stitch, or it looks like a star. And I really like how it's looking mostly. But then I have this section here where they're all stacked, and I have something similar back here where they are all stacked together. And I don't really like how that is looking. And had I read through the pattern better, I could have seen how I could have avoided some of that. So this, I've been kind of going back and forth with this for about a day. Do I rip out or do I just keep going as is? But I am about 90% sure that I am going to rip back, and I don't know how easy this is going to be to rip back, especially with those elongated stitches and the wrap stitches, getting all the stitches back on the needles. I may have to rip back to the beginning. Oh, I would hate to do that, but it may happen, and that's okay. I just am going to try something a little different to avoid those big clusters. Let me know if you think I should rip it out or should just leave it as is. Let me know. I've been wrestling with this in my mind for just yesterday, last night, this morning. So let me know what you think. This yarn is so pretty. This is by a chick that knits in the Forget Me Not colorway. The pattern is very easy to read. I enjoy doing those stitches, those wrapped stitches, but the big chunky blocks of the stars all smushed together, I'm not crazy about. So I think I'm going to be ripping it out. Maybe all the way. We'll see. I'll report back next time. That is living, I didn't share that, but that is living in a project bag that I made several years ago when I sold bags on Etsy. Just a cute little reindeer print. All right, next, this Jingle Bell bag with snowmen and snow globes by Molly Klein Design. I have a hat. It's a chunky hat. This was another project I picked. I am naming it my Duluth hat because I took a trip to Duluth, Minnesota, and it's yarn that I picked out there. But the pattern I am using is called Cable All the Way by Lisa Overby. And this is knit in Madelinetosh TML Triple Twist. And it's an Aran weight yarn. And this was a colorway that was special to the Yarn Harbor knitting store or yarn store in Duluth, Minnesota. And I think we're at the point where you can see that cable. It's like almost like a double braided intertwining cable, and I absolutely love how that is knitting up. The colorway is really pretty. It absolutely reminds me of Minnesota. And what else did I want to say? Yep, so the cable, love the cable. You would think that this should be a pretty fast hat because it is a pretty thick weight yarn, and it is going pretty fast, but when you execute the cables, that is definitely hard on the hands with the bigger weight yarn. So I find that I can knit about 5 rounds comfortably. Yeah, about 5 rounds comfortably, and then I have to put it down for a while. So I did knit a little bit on this yesterday and a little bit on it this morning, but I think I have some decent progress. I am through the first pattern repeat, which is a 16 row repeat. Then I will do another 16 rows and then start the decreases for the crown of the hat. But I am loving how that is knitting up. All right, just a couple more to share right now. Let's see. This is the Bulky and Mohair Cabled Cowl by Knits All Done. It is in this cute typewriter bag by 3 Goobers on Etsy. Sadly, I don't think she's selling anymore. This was a yarn kit that I picked up, which came with 2, again, a really chunky weight yarn or super bulky yarn and a black mohair. And I love this color by itself. And I did think about just knitting knitting the cowl with just this, but when I saw how it was looking with the black, I knew exactly who I was going to knit it for. So I have made quite quite a good deal of progress on this. Hopefully you can see how that's looking, and I think it is turning out really nice. It is very drapey. I am about halfway done, I think, maybe a little more than halfway done on the cowl, but it is knitting up really nice. The cable doesn't bother me as much. Working the cable on this doesn't bother me as much as the hat, and I'm not really sure why, because it's a bigger needle. But yeah, I think this is going to turn out really nice for the person I have it in mind for. The yarn is by, did I write that down? I don't know. I bet I have it on the next, or the page before. Yarn kit from Stephen B. Knits All Done. Yarn Snobs Yarn. That's what it is. Yarn Snobs Yarn. Yeah. So I certainly could see knitting this cowl again with some more bulky weight, and just, you know, not even not holding the mohair with it. I do have some bulky weight, like 2 skeins of or the super chunky in my stash that I may think about doing this cowl again with. I really like how that is turning out. And then my final project that I will be sharing today, those were all knit. I will share the one crochet project that I picked for the 12 Castons of Christmas, and that is the Florentine's Blanket by Sandra Paul. And I am using the Suburban Stitcher 2023 Pink Advent. You needed an Advent or 24 20-gram minis to make your center motif, and you are holding that fingering weight doubled. And this could be a great scrappy project if you have a lot of leftovers. But Pink Advent from Suburban Stitcher. So I've gotten 6 motifs done. So day 1, day 2, I just think this is so pretty. Day 3, and some of them are very similar to each other. Day 4, turning slightly darker. Day 5, and day 6. So I would not say this is a beginning crochet pattern, but if you are a very comfortable crocheter, or if you are an adventurous crocheter, this could be a fun project for you. It is not going to be a large blanket. You are only making 24 squares, so more of a throw blanket or a lap blanket. I believe I don't have the measurements in front of me, what it's supposed to turn out as. But I'm going to make all of these center motifs first, and then pick yarn on my shelf. I don't want to buy yarn. Pick yarn on my shelf to do the surrounding color. And I had originally thought like a pale cream or a pale white, but that might conflict with this. So I'm really not sure yet. Someone had suggested a dark color against those lighter squares, and that could be really interesting too. But then the question is, well, do I do a dark color with these, the lighter ones, and then a light color with these, and kind of mix and match? I don't know yet. I am not sure, but I am really having fun crocheting all of these Florentine motifs. So, all right, so those are the projects that I have been most actively working on. So I didn't show a couple pair of mitts, which I have not worked on since their days when I cast them on. Also, I have 2 shawls on the needles. The One More Stripe shawl by Melanie Berg, that's the bluish color one, I have not put any more time into, but the hi-ho wrap on Christmas Day, I put a little bit of time into the day after Christmas, but not enough progress to show. So maybe on the next podcast that will come up. But I hope you enjoyed seeing some of these new projects that I cast on this month. All right, well, since I'm using Stash for those projects, and some very, very old Stash for some of the projects for sure, but this leads me into talking about the make-along that I'm going to be hosting. And I'm calling it Love Your Stash Mal 2026. I hosted this type of make-along, and I called it Love Your Stash Mal, so make-along, in 2022 and 2023. So I didn't realize that it had been a couple years in between now and when I last hosted it. So I guess not 2024 or 2025, but that's okay. I am ready to have another stash make along, and I've seen videos on YouTube. I've talked with other people, and I think everybody's just ready to enjoy their stash and to try to use their stash. If you want to buy yarn, that is great. I am not saying I won't buy yarn, because we know how that goes. But this overwhelms me, the amount of yarn that I have. I did start weighing all of the yarn. I got all of the yarn on the shelves weighed, and stuff that was hiding in some drawers and boxes and bins, and it's over 50,000 grams that I have. I don't know realistically how many grams I can get out in 1 year. I have no idea. I have never calculated grams. The last time I focused on using stash, I think that was 2024, and I was counting skeins used, but that wasn't using all of those skeins up either. So I think I am going to count my grams for the projects. So any projects that I complete in, starting January 1st through the end, I will be weighing in grams and keeping track that way. So I will be sharing how I do with getting grams out this year. And then of course I have to count grams in if I get yarn into my stash. But the idea with this make along, sorry, I kind of got diverted there. The idea with this make along is to use your stash. You can make whatever projects you want. You can double dip, triple dip in other make-alongs that are stash make-alongs, whatever. That is fine. If you need to add yarn, like purchase new yarn to complete a project using mostly stash yarn, that is okay too. But stash yarn is anything prior to January 1st, 2026. So anything in all of those years past that is in your stash is great to use. There is one thread on Ravelry. It's a chatter and finished object thread. I found that this is the best way for me to be able to keep track of things. And so if you finish something, I say a finished object counts twice, but you do have to post it twice in that thread on Ravelry. And most of you do know that. So if you finish a project, post it twice there. So that gives a little bit more weight to a finished object that you've made as opposed to a chatter or a comment post. I will draw periodically throughout the year. I typically do every quarter, so every 3 months I will pick someone, and it will be for a Ravelry prize up to US $10. I think that is it. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, or head on over to Ravelry and get started, and you can put your comments down there or questions. But I think I've got all of the information over there. So I hope you're ready to go through your stash just like I am this year. All right. So this is, I don't know, this may be the last bit of stash enhancement you see from me in a while. I shared that Christmas sock earlier from Freckled Whimsy, and I had signed up for her Christmas club, and I love her yarn. I love Christmas. I love that. But again, I have a lot of yarn on my shelf, and I think you can see it, but this whole cube is all Christmas themed yarn. So when I was thinking about adding 12 new skeins to my stash that is Christmas, I'm like, you know what, that is kind of crazy. And up here, I don't know if you can see up there, that is all of my self-striping yarn, which that shelf is pretty full. yeah, this is all my like indie dyed self-striping yarn. So given the fact of that, and that this is all Christmas themed yarn, I decided, you know what, I think I'm going to stop. So I got that first one, which I shared, and then I got the second one. So if you haven't gotten your second one or opened it yet, this is a spoiler. I hope I didn't flash it too quickly before. So this is called a kitschy Christmas. That's cute. Oh, and that is so beautiful. So that's giving me kind of like the vintage mid-century modern vibes with these colors, but I absolutely love that. That is very, very pretty. And part of me is very sad to have canceled that club, but I really thought long and hard about it. And you know, when my yarn is stressing me out, I don't want my yarn to stress me out. I love yarn, I love knitting and crochet, and I want to make sure that I continue to love those. So this will be my last for a while, but very, very pretty. And then I will just share, let's see, a couple more things. Just some 2025 stats. I shared this over on Instagram. Knitty Natty posted a graphic where you could share your stats on projects for the year. So I made 56 items total, 22 pairs of socks. Yeah, I am a sock knitter. 12 hats. That kind of surprised me. I didn't realize I had knit that many. 2 blankets. So I made that corner to corner scrappy blanket this year. And then early in January of 2025, I finished the Gifts of Christmas blanket, which is a crochet, well, both of those are crochet blanket. So 2 blankets, 3 garments. So this, and then I had a colorwork sweater called Midnight Garden, and then my edit for the summertime. 2 cowls, 9 dishcloths, 3 scrubbies, and 3 coasters for a total of 56 items. 7 were crocheted items and 49, is that right? Yeah, 49 were knit items. So that's pretty good. I just thought I'd share that. Yep. I know there are people who make a lot more and there are people who make a lot less. So I think you just have to make what brings you joy and what you are able to do, just so you enjoy this wonderful hobby. And to finish out, just a couple of knitting themed gifts that I got for Christmas. Let's see, from my husband Jeff. Some of you may be familiar with this. This is not a newly released book. This is has been around for a while. This is by the yarn harlot Stephanie Pearl McPhee at Knit's End, Meditations for Women Who Knit Too Much. So just some cute little snippets in here, just very fun. And then my sweet daughter-in-law, she found this at Five Below, a cute little toasted marshmallows knitting kit. So we'll see. I never know how these knitting kits are going to go. I've never purchased them myself, but it was so cute. It comes with the little felt pieces for the faces. It comes with your knitting needles and stuffing and everything you need to make, they're called mallow heads, and even that cute little hat. So I think that will be fun to try. But I thought that was really sweet. My family knows me well. And then my son Aaron got me a very funny t-shirt. Yeah, I will have to try to put a picture in because I forgot to bring that down, but a very cute knitting t-shirt. So we had a wonderful Christmas. I hope you all had a good Christmas too. Thank you again to all of you who were following along on my cast on adventures in December. Maybe some of you thought I was crazy. At times I thought I was crazy too. Like, why would you do this in like the busiest month of the year? I don't know, but it was a lot of fun, mostly a lot of fun. So thank you for all of you who have followed along. And I am grateful to each and every one of you. I am so thankful for the friends that I've made through this channel, through participation in make-alongs. It just brings me so much joy. So thank you for being a part of that. I would love to hear what you're working on. Did you get into the 12 Castons of Christmas craze? Are you finishing up whips as we go into the new year? Do you have a big pile of whips? Are you planning to cast on some new things in the new year? I would love to hear that. Are you going to join in on the stash mail? Definitely check that out. That will be linked in the show notes down below. So if you got this far, thank you so much for watching. Please give this a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, to keep following along on my crafty adventures. So with that, I will say goodbye, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.